What's up, everyone? I hope everybody's sort of Convallaria gameplay is going well. Everybody's enjoying the game. Today, we're going to go over Gloria and a guide for her and how I think she could be played, what she could do for your team, and how I see her helping you get through your gameplay. Without any further ado, let's just get right into it. And so, first things first with Gloria, so we want to have a look at her trait. So Gloria's trait, honestly, is pretty phenomenal. And at 5 stars, it gets even more phenomenal. But we'll just talk over it real quick. Flag of Justice. Increases Gloria attack by 15%. When she loses flag waving aura, she gains potential burst. That's a attack by 20% buff and a defense by 40% buff. And it makes her immune to attribute debuffs. Also, her movement is increased by 2 tiles. Really, really powerful, really good just off that. At the start of battle, Gloria will auto-use Longinus Flag Waving, which grants Flag Waving aura. And so, this is a skill, it's an instant, it grants move up 1 to all allies within 3 tiles for 2 rounds, granting the character Flag Waving. And then Flag Waving aura increases the attack and defense of all allies within 3 tiles by 12%, cannot be immunized or dispelled. And so, this is really, really good. It's a nice little buff for everybody, and you can't say enough good about it. Now, as I said, at rank 5, she kind of goes bonkers. So if you have Gloria and you're working on getting these shards, I would highly suggest getting her to rank 5 as soon as possible. Gloria's kind of got a place in every single team. It's really hard not to utilize her. You don't have to, of course, if you don't like her, but yeah, anyways, I digress. At 5 stars, the effect is improved. 2, Gloria increases her attack up to 20%. When she loses flag waving, she gains potential burst for 2 turns. And her movement is additionally increased by 2 tiles. And here it is right here. And she ignores 50% of the target's defense. Holy guacamole, that's a lot. I mean, we're just getting straight through. We don't care about anything. It's awesome. Really, really strong and powerful. That said, let's have a look at her ranks. Now, here we come. Rank 1, you have 2 options. On the right, you got Solemnity, and so that's an aura. It decreases attack of all enemies within the character's 2 tiles by 10%. And then on the left, you've got Knightly Spirit. It's passive. It increases attack by 20%. When attacking enemies from the front, increase defense by 40% when being attacked from the front. So, really, really good. I go with Knightly Spirit in the first rank. However, if you value this on the right, there's nothing wrong with that. However, I value Knightly Spirit on the left. Notice I didn't say that again. Anyways, rank 3. You got 2 options here, and this is where I think you're going to want to use Castalia with Gloria. On the right, you got Lance of Longinus. So it's physical damage attack. It deals 80% AoE damage to all enemies within 2 tiles around the target. Empty tile is required. Summons a flag at the cost of her flag waving aura. If there is no flag waving aura on Gloria, the skill switches to Longinus Flag Waving. And so here it is, flag. It's an item. It increases attack and defense by 15% for all allies in the battle and disappears after a certain number of turns. To my knowledge, that number of turns is 3. And so that flag being down is giving everybody a buff around it by that amount. Really, really good. Flag waving aura increases attack and defense of all allies with 3 tiles with 12%. So that's when she's got that on her. And then Longinus Flag Waving. It's a skill instant, grants move with 1. We read that earlier on the trait. Really, really good. On the left, you've got Longinus Brilliance. And so it's a support ability. Gloria grants all allies within 3 tiles of her attack up 1 and damage reduction 2 for 2 turns. And she restores 1 energy. And so that's a 10% buff to a physical and magical attack, 20% decrease to damage taken, and then you're getting that 1 energy back as well. If there is no flag waving aura on Gloria, the skill switches to Sword Full Moon. And so this right here is really, really good. So basically, if you don't have your flag in hand, she gets to use this ability instead. And let me tell you, this thing's bonkers. So it's a skill, deals 90% AoE physical damage to all enemies within 2 tiles around the character. Damage dealt is increased by 30% when the targets are injured. Gain damage reduction 2 for 2 turns after performing this skill. Really, really good. 90% AoE damage. It's a lot of AoE. So throwing her flag out does AoE, puts an item down which can be targeted by opponents and distract them. It peels and helps you zone and control. And then when that flag's out of hand, you get an AoE that does a ton of damage and gives some damage reduction for Gloria as well. Can't beat it. Really, really good. Now up here at rank 5, you have 2 options as well. You got front defense. It's a reaction. When hit by an active attack from the front, the damage taken is decreased by 30%. Solid option, nothing wrong with that. However, on the right is what I would suggest, which is counterattack. It's a reaction. When hit by an active attack from the front or side, it performs a basic attack to strike back if the character is within range, dealing 70% damage of the target basic attack's damage. The effect can be activated 1 time per round. So it's just a simple little strike back and dealing damage back to the opponents when you're hit. Simple and sweet. Rank 7, you got counterattack mode on the left. Support, it adds 20% to physical attack and physical defense and magical defense. It increases strike back damage by 50% and gains preempt. And increases strike back range by 2 tiles, lasting for 2 turns. Really solid ability. Nothing wrong with that if you choose to go for it. I didn't. I went with what was on the right, which is her aura, Vow of Justice. For all Union allies in battle, attack is increased by 10%, defense is increased by 20%, and when performing an active attack, damage is increased by 12%. When being struck back, damage taken is decreased by 24%. Really good aura, super solid, really good for comboing with units like August. Rank 9 comes the basic attack options. On the right, you've got silencing attack. This basic attack deals 100% physical damage and inflicts no active skills on injured targets before attacking. Lasts for 2 turns. And then on the left, you got Lance of Justice. This is a basic attack. Gloria deals 70% physical damage to all enemies within 1 tile radius of the target. If there is no flag waving aura on Gloria, the skill switches to Sword of Justice. So she's got that flag in her hand. Her basic attacks are AoE attacks. Really, really powerful. Really, really good. And then, of course, that Sword of Justice is a single target attack, not an AoE. And that's if she doesn't have the flag in her hand. It launches a single target attack, dealing 100% physical damage. When attacking from the front, it increases damage dealt to 130%. The skill will be switched to Lance of Justice when having the flag waving aura. Really, really good. Rank 11, we got Knight's Glory. It's a support instant. It grants the target attack up 2 for 2 turns. When the targets are from the Union, the character gains an additional physical shield with a value equal up to 20% of their HP. Not bad at all. And then on the left is what I went with. However, you go with either one. I don't use this ability on the left, so I don't think it's inconsequential to grab either one. I just like to have a little heavy hitting ability just in case. And that is Fair Duel. Physical damage, single target attack. It deals 180% damage. Before attacking, it dispels all debuffs on the character and all buffs on the target. So it levels the playing field. Probably a pretty good option for PvP. I'm not sure. We'll see in the future. However, that's what I went with. And that's how I'd suggest grabbing and scaling up Gloria. I do think you do want to spend 1 Gestalia here on rank 3. Now moving on, we're going to have a look at weapons. And so here, the weapon of choice for me, and what I put on Gloria, is the double-sided halberd. I think that this weapon is her best in slot. That's my personal opinion. If you disagree with it, there's nothing wrong with that. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'm always glad to hear it. However, this weapon right here increases physical attack up to 5%. And for each target hit when attacking, it increases the damage to by 8% up to 24%. Sounds like a certain Terror Whisper, right? Really, really good. Gloria has a lot of AoE in her kit, so I want to be able to scale that damage up as best as possible. And this weapon does that for me. Other weapons are a really good choice, of course, is like the Pendant Halberd. This increases your HP, and before taking a single target attack, you gain 10. Before taking a single target attack, you gain 10% bonus attack and defense. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, you have other options too. With Skeleton Spear, increases physical attack 2%. Before initiating a single target attack, it additionally deals piercing damage equal to 10% of your physical attack on the target. That's not necessarily a great one. It's a lot of single target right there. However, you've got the Silent Guard. When actively attacked, defense increases by 10%. The next attack deals 15% more damage. And so Gloria is a frontline unit. She is going to get hit a lot. This is a very solid option for her. I know a lot of people like to use this spear. I'm not a huge fan of it personally. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if you do want to use it. That's just my opinion. Now, I think the Nameless Staff is worth mentioning here because it increases your movement by 1. I think it's important for Gloria to be able to position correctly and to help out. A lot of what she does for your team is buff, so this is a great option too. And then, of course, it increases your crit by 3% if you move no less than 3 tiles before attacking. Pretty easy to achieve, in my opinion. Pretty decent option. However, I have to go back and say Double-Sided Halberd, in my opinion, is her best in slot. Personal opinion. Next, let's have a look at trinkets. Now, the best in slot for me and what I think is Crystal Burst Armor. I really like this. I think it synergizes what she does. And the reason is because you're getting HP and then you're getting strike back damage back, bonus. So increases HP by 4%. Strike back deals 10% more damage. Now, you're only striking back 1 time per round, but you might as well do it for the most amount of damage possible. And a little bit of bonus HP is really, really good. Of course, there's other options depending on the battles and what you go into, but this is the most versatile option in my opinion, and I really, really like it. A second option that a lot of people seem to prefer and like is Mystery Guardian. This is something that gives you, when attacked from the front, you gain 25% physical damage, and you suffer no defense attribute debuffs. It's pretty decent. You want Gloria to take everything from the front. It synergizes with her skills, so this is definitely a really good, solid option for that reason. And then, of course, you got some other options too. Like, I wouldn't be hurt if you put a fancy hat on her. You got her in the fray often. Maybe some people think that, you know, it's worth it. I'm not a huge fan of Spring Pill, but maybe you want it just to give her a little bit extra heals. Throw that on her. You have quite a few options. Big shout out to a unique coat because you're going to reduce that physical damage. If you're in a team, and if you're in a battle that has a lot of magic damage, shout out to Rejection Mask. It's all just preference at that point. However, I think the best 2 options, in my opinion, are that Crystal Burst Armor and then the Mystery Guardian. That's my opinion. And then, of course, let's have a look at her Terror Whispers. So for Terror Whispers, I think the best in slot is Dream of the Magician. And so this increases your damage by 8%. When casting a skill, for each additional enemy hit, the damage is increased by 4% up to 12%. Now I have the hidden effect unlocked right here, and so that changes that to basically double the effect. Increases damage by 16%, and for each additional enemy, it increases by 18 up to 24%. Stacking with that double-sided halberd. Really, really good. Fantastic. Like it a lot. Not been unhappy. Gloria hits hard and does a really good job. She has all the ability in the world to be a carry on her own. A lot of people use her just for the buffs alone. They really like what she can do for the team comp, the auras, especially going in with August. They synergize really well. However, Gloria does a great job of her own. Can't forget to mention the resonance. Let's talk about that. Just last one thing. I like the resonance of the sword and the chalice. I really like the lifesteal and then increased damage by 5%. She's on the front line taking hits. So yeah, I like her to have that lifesteal. A lot of people like other resonance. And so you'll see people will suggest online or maybe elsewhere that they take sword in one. And so that basically for each tile she traverses, she takes an additional attack and she gets additional attack and defense up by 4% up to 12%, depending on how many tiles she travels. That synergizes well with that staff right here, the Nameless Staff. It's not bad at all. However, lifesteal is what I would suggest going with. And so I digress. Back to what I was saying. A lot of people think Gloria is a great buffer. She's an all-rounder. She can do everything and anything with the exception of healing. She goes into a group. She can tank pretty well. She can do a lot of damage. She can buff really well. She doesn't debuff, but she does everything else. It's really, really nice. She's a must-have unit if it's possible for you to get her. And then, of course, I'm assuming anyone who's here looking at this guide already has her. And so this is what I would suggest you do with her. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope it's helpful for you. I really appreciate all the support I'm getting from everyone. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Take care. Take it easy. We'll see you later. Bye.